lovely people. So today, first of all, welcome to the Flip class for today, April 23rd. As I promised you in the in-person class, I won't give you so much activities for today to make up for the overwhelming activities that I've given to you last time. So for this week's activity, would like to go over the customer persona. If you guys remembered, I talked about how important is it for us to collect information about the customers using our Google Analytics account, right? So I would like to work with you on making a template to create what we call it in marketing, a consumer or a buyer persona. This is still something that we do in marketing, or it is done in marketing. Very important exercise, in fact, for any marketer. And it is interesting because this time I'm going to do this exercise with you. You're going to do it, and then we're going to do it together in class by using some of the charts and data available on the Google Analytics demo account. All right. So we're going to utilize this tool, all right, to fill up or complete the template, the buyer consumer persona template. So if you were given a task, for example, to come up with a template of different segments of traffic, of audience coming into your site, right? So the first thing you're going to do is go to audience, and you can get information here. Take a look at all these reports under audience. I don't think you need to look into active users, but rather take a look at audiences, demographics, take a look at their interest, and I haven't explained all this yet, right? But I trust that you could get around with it. You can see here different age groups. So as I explained the customer persona, would like you to imagine different a group and take a look at certain group. For example, most of our traffic here coming from 25 to 34. So probably it is sensible that we make a persona, for example, choose a persona with this demographic, yeah? And then try to find out here by using this graph here. Try to focus on one persona. For example, I want to focus not on this first one, I want to focus on the second one. Then using the secondary dimension, I could take a look at where I could find this persona, yeah? The source and the medium. So I will be able to have a better understanding of where exactly I could find this persona. Here's the wait a minute. These are the users, but why can't I see the different? Here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry again, guys. First, we need to select these. Yeah. So as you can see, now I have my persona 25 to 34, 18 to 24, 35 to 44. All of them, in fact, it checked with direct, none, Google, CPC. So yeah, indeed. So you can find out more information about your, start with the demographics if you want, and or the gender or the age, and start looking up information here by taking a look at certain behavior. Oh wow, this is really too much information here. I understand that. Try just to try to search into it and see. Look at the documentation. These are the different brands or previous content group. So what would be an interesting also, other than behavior? I would like you to focus on behavior, any of these, yeah, that makes sense to you. And then would like you to also focus on social here. There are other options, in fact, but these are not very important for me. What's important in the customer persona, guys, is the demographics, the behavior, and no, these are not very important for now. I could make it more complicated. I could tell you I would like to know more about the personas that yield to conversions and all that. But for now, I just want it to be very simple. I don't want to make it also complicated by you going into advertising and targeting. Just wanting you to focus on demographics, behavior, and social. I'm interested also in knowing a little bit of the social measures. All right. So again, social, behavior, and demographics that we're already landing on. So for example, here you can take a look at different behaviors, brands, as I showed you earlier. That's quite interesting. Clothing by gender. There's some interesting stuff. It's not set though. So try to find things that are set. Yeah. In any case, let me now start my explanation of a template for persona. First, I'm going to start with a brief introduction to buyer personas, how to present your buyer persona, and then an example to guide you through it. A brief introduction here. What is a buyer persona? As you can see on the slide, it's a fictional representation of your ideal customer or audience. It's based on real data. So data analytics comes from real data behavior collected on your site. Mostly it's about customer, it contains customer demographics and online behavior. Do you see that? So it's customer demographics and online behavior, along with educated speculation about their personal histories. This is something that we're gonna have to depend on your imagination a little bit and creativity completing the task, motivations and concerns. How are your buyer personas created? They're created, first of all, you need to collect information through research, surveys, interviews with your target audience. But since we are here in the data analytics course, the research here means going into data analytics. So through research here means you go through data analytics. You don't need to really give surveys, but interviews are very important at the very end. That include a mix of customers, both in good and bad prospects, and both outside of your contact database who might align with your target audience. You will collect this data that is both a qualitative and a quantitative, which is like interview based, or quantitative, which is based on, for example, statistics with the data analytics, to paint that picture of who your ideal customer is and what they value and how your products can solve or your services can fit their daily lives. Basically, as you can see, let's break this down. So as I told you earlier, just looking at Google Analytics, I told you I could make this exercise a little bit more difficult because I could add the layer that I ask you first, use this secondary blah, blah, blah to find out a little bit about good and bad prospects based on certain measures. Then I tell you, let's take a look at those who are our target audience who converted or who are still on the pending list. For now, I don't want to do all this. I don't want you to focus on. Meaning, I want you to focus right now on creating a persona per se, and then as the time passes and you feel more comfortable using Google Analytics, I'm sure you yourself will be able to create this persona based on Google Analytics as a research source or a quantitative data source very easily. How do you socialize or communicate, in fact, how do you communicate this in a presentation? So if your manager asks you to create this customer persona based on Google Analytics, you need to come up with a presentation. This exercise will help you structure your presentation slides to communicate your customer persona. So, how to present your buyer persona? First of all, the first slide should have your company name. Of course, you need to tell them that you're doing a buyer persona, the date. Then it should look like something like this. There's a picture of your persona, a little bit of a background information, like basic information about the person's role, information about where they work, for example, or if they're housewives, what they do, like a little bit about their lifestyle, relevant background information like education, hobbies, if you have any of that. Imagine, because some of these information are not available on Google Analytics. Demographics are available, so you can just imagine that it's a gender, like a female, it's a certain age group. Imagine certain things about their income, single, a single mother, married, divorced, widowed, with kids, with no kids, certain age group, or something like that, and where they live. And then certain buzzwords or mannerism in their, like they like sports, they exercise every day, they're cool, the selfie generation, something like that. And over here with the persona name, just give it a name. And this information here you can get from an interview. So you have to just make up any information that you imagine that you have collected from an interview. And these are real quotes from the persona that taken from the interview. And finally, the marketing message. Based on all that, you need to write a marketing message. Of course, I didn't cover with you a marketing message or value proposition. This was one of the exercises that I wanted to give for today, in fact. But I don't want to overwhelm you, as I promised. I might make a video nonetheless for those who are interested. Elevator pitch, this is not necessary for today's exercise. An example of a complete buyer persona. This is an example. This is a real life picture of a person. It's not necessarily the person you interviewed, but somebody similar to that person. And they are models. Their pictures are available for purchase. You can buy it, use it for your exercise or presentation for your manager. You can just say that this person is working here and there, what they're doing. Imagine there's certain things about them. And then in the demographics area here, would like you to go to Google Analytics, try to find out a little bit more about a certain slice of customers. Put a little bit about where you can find them if available on Google Analytics. Try your best to link Google Analytics data to the demographics here. Add behaviors. I don't like this because it doesn't say demographics, comma behavior. Maybe I should actually fix it right on the spot here with you. So over here, I don't know how I messed this here. Demographics, maybe interests. I think behaviors here in identifiers. Yeah, this is maybe identifiers could be behaviors. I'm sorry, behaviors and interests. Let me just make it very explicit. Okay. All right, once you finish this based on Google Analytics data, try to come up with a name here, other than sample Sally, and come up with certain goals and challenges. If you want to keep this as is, but have different demographics, then you have different goals. I don't want to make this super easy and super boring. Let's just put a little bit of an effort to come up with certain goals and challenges. Just imagine, be creative, and imagine how you could help. So imagine yourself being based on, first you start with the Google Analytics here account. As you can see, they are into the clothing industry. Try to take a look at the interests here. We have the affinity categories. Let me talk a little bit to you about this affinity and in market. Affinity, these interests are collected. Of course, all this data is collected from your traffic, the visitors on your site. Affinity interests are these interests that Nora exhibits and been tracked through this system that tracks us all the time on the long run. So Nora has shown interest, for example, in painting over the past 5 years. So her interest is basically in certain area on the long run. In market segments means that right now I am hot in the market for, like, I am right now actively looking for a certain product. For example, right now I'm actively looking for flat shoes or running shoes. I'm not going to be looking for running shoes all over my life, but maybe I have an affinity. I have affinity interest for a long period of time in sports, activewear, outdoors activities. So if I'm the kind of outdoorsy kind of person, so you can describe me as an outdoorsy kind of person. So rely on this affinity kind of interest on the long run, and the in-market segment or in-market interest for identifying my maybe worries. Right now, my worry or my concern is to find the most suitable running shoes or. So makeup stories, but I would like you to go over here just to take a look at what Google Analytics is. So first thing first is the demographics, self-explanatory, age and gender, interest. We have the affinity category, the interest on the long run for your audience. You can see here is on media, entertainment, movie lovers here. We have here technology and techno phillies, shoppers, certain interests here in technology, media, entertainment. I can see media, entertainment, music, movies, very beauty, very evident here. Anyway, in market segments, are they looking for employment? All right, very good. So maybe services, advertising and marketing right now. So we can see if we can align our current advertising to some of these interests in market segments. This is our hot right now, actively looking for employment, actively looking for this, actively looking for that. So unfortunately, I haven't, to say the truth, I kind of like, I've done that a long time ago, and I haven't gone through the notes about the analytics and see if I have any notes about the type of business that this is based on. But the idea, guys, the main idea here is to align your marketing message or your marketing campaign to one or many. So you have different ad groups. So the first ad group maybe targets certain in-market segments so that they can relate to you and to your service, because most of them are actually currently actively looking for employment. So if you are a coach, for example, a coaching service, you can talk to them about how you can help them in interviews, how you can help them prep their CV and all that. In another ad group, for example, you can talk about how you can, or another campaign if you want, you can, but ad group is just perfect. You can just help them write an informed value proposition statement to attract their customers and get more sales done. You see that productivity software. So if you're a coach, I think this is for a coach service, it seems to be. So if you're a coaching service, you can talk about self-development and productivity, and give them a little bit about certain productivity tools and softwares. And if they want to know more, please visit our site and all that. So you can see mostly about employment, career consulting, productivity, advertising, certain areas like that. For example, you can align it to your business message. This is language, location. Here's behavior. Behavior here, unfortunately, as you can see, it has nothing to do with their behavior in terms of um, what they buy, how often, when are they most likely active, blah blah blah. They're mostly here is about behavior that relates to marketing, like returning or new frequency. Maybe frequency and the recency is important as well, but I don't want to complicate things to you. Maybe this behavior is not as important, in fact. This is quite interesting, in fact. It's beta, though, no wonder. Okay, so let's see. I haven't noticed this before. Conversion probability. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So take a look. You can probably come up with ideas like I can find them on a certain network, you know, on Firefox. They are more on Safari, something like that. So try to just relate most of the information that you add to your exercise into benchmarking is also very important. I will talk to you a little bit more about this Google Analytics in more details later in other videos. But for now, would like you to just do your best, be creative. Imagine just one quote is enough. I don't want to overwhelm you. 3 is perfect, 2 is good. Common objectives, and most importantly, write your marketing message. No need for the elevator pitch for now. I haven't trained you to write one, but read here and see what, if you have time and you really would like to know more about the elevator pitch. I could probably now dig into my notes and find if I have. In fact, I do have some set of slides about the value proposition and elevator pitch. Maybe I can just put them for reference on Moodle. They're not fancy though. I need to put them in a fancier slides like these ones. But I'll just put them as is. So what's the assignment? The assignment is for each and every student of you to submit this same PowerPoint, but please change the name. And instead of customer persona, put your name and ID. All right, so please rename it as your name and ID. And over here, keep the picture, unless you are talking about a man. Just put whatever picture. You put your picture, your own picture. I would appreciate it, unless you're talking about somebody who's really older than you. And try to, not to try, please complete this slide about different background demographics and behaviors or interests based on information and data you're getting from Google Analytics. I would like you to kindly add here a couple of slides, maybe 2 slides are enough, and copy and paste a snapshot of the areas on the analytics where you got the information. So how did you fill out this? Not all the information comes from Google Analytics, but I would like at least to see 4, 2 in each slide, 4 different snapshots from Google Analytics that indicates that you actually went there and did your homework and got some information from there. And then over here, just make whatever creative goals, challenges, and ideas, and I will look at your assignments and discuss it in class next time. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this is not overwhelming like last week, and this should be done in within 1 hour or less. So please take care. Take a look at Google Analytics. Spend most of your time looking here at different parts of or different attributes and parts here of Google Analytics. Discover a little bit more about Google Analytics by going to Discover and Google Analytics app. You can put it as an app, a demo account. Looking at Analytics Academy, for example, go and take a look, learn a little bit more about Google Analytics for beginners, as you can see here, so you can watch these videos. So this is another, if this exercise is too easy for you and it's less than 1 hour, then spend the rest of the class, please, by looking at Google Analytics for beginners and so forth, and take a look at this and get yourself familiarized with the interface. All right, guys, thank you so much for today and for listening. I'll see you again on Tuesday. Please stay safe and enjoy your weekend.